There's a pattern you only notice when you study people who start with nothing and still win. It's not luck, not talent, not even opportunity. It's how they think when everything around them suggests they shouldn't succeed. And the uncomfortable truth is, most people fail long before money becomes the issue. They fail at the psychological level. This becomes clear when you look closely at real lives. People who didn't just escape scarcity, but used it. Warren Buffett started investing at the age of 11. His first stock didn't skyrocket. It barely moved. Most beginners would feel bored, impatient, even discouraged. That early emotional discomfort is where many people quit. But Buffett didn't react. He waited. Years later, he would admit that his biggest mistake wasn't losing money, it was selling too early. That one pattern reveals something deeper. He had a rare tolerance for delayed reward. While others chase fast results, he was comfortable sitting in slow progress. This is what psychology defines as delayed gratification. The ability to prioritize future gains over present comfort. It's not exciting, it's not glamorous, but it's one of the strongest predictors of long-term wealth. People who master this don't need life to feel rewarding today. They focus on making it valuable tomorrow. Oprah Winfrey's early life was filled with instability, poverty, and rejection. At one point, she was told she wasn't suitable for television. That moment could have shaped her identity permanently. Many people internalize such judgments and build their self-image around them. But Oprah did something different. She separated her current condition from her identity. She didn't see herself as someone defined by her circumstances. Instead, she operated from a version of herself that didn't exist yet. Psychology calls this the separation between self-concept and circumstance. When people fuse the two, they get stuck. When they separate them, behavior changes. Decisions become future-oriented instead of reactive. Oprah didn't ignore her reality, but she refused to let it define her. That subtle mental boundary allowed her to act in ways that didn't match her current situation, but matched where she was going. Elon Musk entered the aerospace industry without formal training in rocket science. His early SpaceX launches failed repeatedly. Explosions, financial pressure, public doubt, everything that signals stop. Most people interpret repeated failure as a final judgment, but Musk approached it differently. Each failure was information. Each mistake refined the next attempt. This reflects a core psychological principle known as experiential learning, supported by what is often called a growth-oriented mindset. Instead of waiting for confidence, he built competence through action. This is where many people get trapped. They wait to feel ready before starting. But readiness is often a result of doing, not a prerequisite. People who rise from zero don't require certainty. They create clarity by moving forward. Action becomes the teacher, not the reward. Sara Blakely was selling fax machines before she built Spanx into a billion-dollar company. She didn't come from a business background, didn't have investors, and started with limited savings. The easy path was stability. The risky path was uncertainty. But what she chose wasn't blind risk. It was controlled risk. She invested carefully, tested ideas, handled production herself, and navigated rejection step by step. This reflects the psychology of risk calibration. Successful individuals are not reckless. They don't chase danger. They learn to measure it. Most people either avoid risk entirely or jump into it without structure. Both paths lead to failure. But those who build from nothing learn to operate in calculated discomfort. They ask practical questions. What can I lose? Can I recover? What is the real upside? Then they move forward, not blindly, but deliberately. Howard Schultz grew up in a working-class environment where financial instability was constant. His father lost jobs easily and had no safety net. One injury changed everything for the family. That experience didn't disappear over time. It became a psychological driver. When Schultz built Starbucks, he made a decision that stood out. He provided healthcare benefits even to part-time employees, not because it was profitable in the short term, but because of what he had lived through. This reveals a powerful psychological mechanism, emotionally driven motivation. Pain, when processed in a certain way, becomes fuel. Many people try to escape discomfort, to forget it, to move past it. But some individuals convert it into direction. They don't chase recognition. They are driven by a deep internal need to never return to a previous state. That type of motivation is stable. It doesn't depend on external validation. When you step back and look at these lives, the pattern becomes undeniable. They didn't start with financial advantages. They started with psychological advantages. They tolerated slow progress without losing focus. They refused to let their current situation define who they were. They learned by doing instead of waiting. They approached risk with awareness, not fear. And they used discomfort as a source of energy instead of a reason to stop. Starting from zero creates pressure. For most people, that pressure limits thinking. It narrows options, reduces confidence, and reinforces hesitation. But for a small group, that same pressure sharpens thinking. It forces clarity. It removes illusions. It builds mental endurance. And at that point, money is no longer the starting point. Psychology is. The real shift happens when a person no longer needs immediate comfort to keep going. That's when zero stops being a disadvantage and starts becoming leverage. There's a moment most people never talk about. It's not the beginning, and it's not success. It's the phase where nothing seems to be working. No results, no recognition, no visible progress. And this is where the real separation happens. Most people interpret this phase as failure, but the ones who eventually win interpret it as alignment. They understand something subtle but powerful. Progress is often invisible before it becomes undeniable. This is where a psychological shift takes place, what experts refer to as cognitive reframing. Instead of asking, "Why isn't this working?" they ask, "What is this teaching me?" That single shift changes everything, because now frustration becomes feedback, delay becomes preparation, and effort becomes investment. You start to realize that building wealth from zero is less about adding more, and more about removing illusions. The illusion that success should be fast, the illusion that confidence comes first, the illusion that comfort is required to move forward. And once those illusions disappear, your behavior changes automatically. You become more patient, but more intense, more calm, but more focused, more disciplined, but less emotional. And here's the part most people miss. At that stage, you're no longer chasing success. You're becoming someone who naturally produces it. That's the transformation, not external, internal. Because in the end, wealth doesn't start when money appears. It starts when your mind stops negotiating with comfort and starts committing to growth. Something subtle is about to shift in how you see attraction. Not tricks, not lines, not performance. A deeper psychological pattern most men never notice, but women feel instantly. Watch closely, because the next video is about to appear on your screen. The psychological secret that makes women want you first. Don't miss it. And if you want more content like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel